welcome everybody to Media Minds. This is the show where we have practical conversations with the ministry of media in mind. My name is Darin Kent, and I am the Chief Communications Officer for the AME Zion Church. Now listen, we are coming to you tonight with a gentleman that I just recently formally met at Livingstone College when I was doing a presentation. That was about a month ago. And let me tell you, I was blown away by this brother's professionalism when it came to media. And the more I sat and talked with him, I just knew that we had to jump off Media Minds once again with him as our first guest. It was actually therapeutic the more I spoke to him and we discussed everything that we have in common. So can't wait to bring him on in a second. But first, let's just go through a little bit of what the communications department of the AME Zion Church is actually doing. We are doing some amazing work. Let me tell you, we have raised now over $65,000 from pledges and secured over 75% of that for the communications department of the AME Zion Church to begin to be an in-house AV department and company for you, for the church of the AME Zion Church, and for those churches that are outside the AME Zion Church. We want to be able to just help Christendom in general. So we are now going to get into the next phase of identifying strategic equipment that we're going to purchase. And then that equipment is going to go to making this a fully functional department that you're going to be able to rely on when you have your conferences, your leadership training institutes, your district programs, so forth and so on. We want to be that one-stop shop for anything that you need within inside the church, and to use AME Zion talent. Like, we've identified those that are working well within inside our church already. So why not put them to work? Why not keep it right inside our community and be able to bless those, since they're doing great work across our denominations? We'll even put up information at the end of this video where you'll be able to partner with us and pledge, if you so choose, to the communication department of the AME Zion Church to join this journey with us and to feel a part of building this kingdom for the media ministry of our denomination together. Listen, we also want to make mention that the Star of Zion is booming. We are doing more digital now than we've ever done before. We have so many different ways of being able to connect and share. Please join us on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on our Twitter page as well, which we just came out with, this at Star of Zion News. Okay, so just look for Star of Zion on any one of those platforms. Please click that link. Please follow the page. Please, again, learn what we're doing. Engage with us on our new website as well at starofzion.org. We want to be able to connect with you and to give you all of the great information that's going on in the AME Zion denomination. And last but not least, we want to be able to talk and celebrate what we're doing with our new online television network for the AME Zion Church. And that network is called AMEZ TV. Listen, it is here. It is working well. It is a new way for you to produce content and get that content over to the communication department, and for it to be housed and curated in one area for you to be able to share and to be able to celebrate all the great things that are going on within your church, your local church, your districts, your conferences, and even in your personal brand. We want content. Please talk to me. Come to me, ask me, give me the ideas. I want it all. Bring it our way. And we're going to talk a little bit with our guest, and he's going to tell you that I even asked him for some content. So look, we are building this Netflix of the AME Zion Church. We want you to go there right now. Go to amez.tv and be able to subscribe. Right now, the platform is wide open, so we're not charging everybody. This is your free trial. We're going to do this free trial for a good little while, and probably after General Conference is over, then we're going to start charging for bits and pieces of what goes on with inside the platform. But again, worship services and district conferences and things that we will never charge for are going to be wide open on the platform. We just want you to go there and just experience all of the exclusive stuff that your church is already doing. It is now my pleasure to bring our guest on for this evening. Like I said, I met this brother formally a while ago. We've been talking through email and text messages way before then, but it is just a privilege to have him share with us on this evening and just really chop it up in an informal way, just about media, and see how this conversation that we have is going to bless you. His official title is the Director of Multimedia and Digital Engagement for Livingstone College. He comes in the form of none other than Mr. Keith Anderson. Keith, what up, my dude?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing just fine, brother, just fine. How are you doing?
Man, I'm great. I'm great. Busy times, but I'm great. Just wrapping up this school year, and hey, I'm enjoying it.
Yo, my man, I know you have a plethora of things on your plate right now. We even discussed a few of them while we were in the waiting room, even before we began this meeting. But listen, I appreciate you taking the time out and just chopping it up with your boy for a little bit. I kind of gave a little prequel to say that we have a lot in common. We've been doing things in separate kind of areas and entities, and it kind of met a crossroads recently on last month, and I believe it was hopefully mutually beneficial, but I know it blessed me when I was able to speak to somebody that had like minds, right? Media minds, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, no doubt. So, listen, let's just jump it off with the basics. Just tell me a little bit about yourself, both in like a professional manner and then also a personal manner.
All right. Well, my name's Keith Anderson. I come from Johnson City, Tennessee, small little town about like Salisbury. I moved to Salisbury about 15 years ago, and I've been working at Livingstone almost 13 years. So as soon as I moved here, pretty much got a job here and just started running. But I started off in the mailroom. I was the mailroom assistant. Then I became the bookstore assistant, then the bookstore manager, and then I was the audiovisual coordinator, ran the radio station. Up to now, I'm the Director of Multimedia and Digital Engagement here. I'm a father of two, happily married to my wife, Andrea, who keeps my train on the rails. Pretty much, I do a lot of stuff at my church. I love my church, Cornerstone Church. I do a lot of the media there and so forth. I'm a youth leader for our youth group, CY. And then pretty much Livingstone College.
And you left off one thing. You got your own company. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Entrepreneur?
sir. I'll go ahead and plug that in. I do have my own company, Symphony Media, where we handle multimedia needs for the community, small churches and small businesses. And I'm currently building my YouTube studio downtown Salisbury, Podcast Studio. It will be just a studio where people can come, rent the space, do their podcast and their YouTube.
Yeah. So I'm still just blown away by all the work that you're doing when it revolves around media, with inside the Livingstone College, and then with inside your church, and then I'm sure you get pulled in multiple directions by being just a family man as well. So again, we have plenty in common. We won't go into everything that we have in common right now, but it was just honestly, it was refreshing. When we chopped it up inside that same studio that you're sitting in right now on Livingstone campus, and you just started, talking about all the things that you've done at the school and that you plan on doing, all the things that are in the works when involved in media. If you would, and this, we have a list of questions, but again, this is just us chopping it up right now. I'm gonna go a little bit off the beaten path. Just take me through, all the things that you do have going on right now at the college, and things that have been spoken about and done and brought to life, and things that we have to look forward to in the future from Livingstone College under your leadership.
All right. Well, first, let me start off with the Instagram. We definitely have took a huge turn with the Instagram. Our President 13, Dr. Anthony J. Davis, from day one, let's hit the ground running with the cameras, the social media. And, you know, I talked to him briefly before he became the president. He said, Keith, if I become the president, these are the things that I would like to do. Yes, sir. I'm already on it. You know, that's the type of stuff I want to do. And just to be able to, you know, do all of the multimedia, social media things and do it for a job is, you know, a God sent blessing. You know, we enjoy every day coming to work. But we started recording him from day one. So we literally day one filmed his whole entire day, day two, you know, the whole week, and then it led up to now. We literally started at 4,000 followers on Instagram, 4,000 up until now. We have 11.5K. And that's literally just been doing the posting all of the information. And one of the good things, you know, when I'm with Dr. Davis and I hear people say, hey man, I seen this on social media, let me write you a check, let me donate to the school. Those are things that just make me like, okay, people are seeing the work that we're putting in. You know, me and my team, we really hit the ground running every day, because it's not just for the president, it's for the entire campus of Livingstone College. So we deal with the professors, you know, we deal with all the students and what the students have, Greek life, everything that everybody has going on. We try to capture it and, you know, show it to the masses, basically. You know, and that's just Instagram. And my assistant Ezekiel, he really does the Facebook part of it, and he, you know, does the same thing every day. He's putting stuff out there. We kind of got competition on who gets more views on videos and so forth, because, you know, he mostly has the alums and the parents and stuff like that. So, you know, we kind of make a healthy little competition of it. And then of course we actually have our radio station. A lot of people don't know. That's one of our big kept secrets, I feel like, because we are not only an education radio station, but we operate as if we're just a regular FM radio station. We play hip hop, R&B. On Sundays, we reserve that for Christian and gospel music. And then on Thursdays, we do a little fun throwback Thursdays, and we play all the old school, you know, stuff like that. But my radio station manager, Jania Woods, Miss Good News, she runs that, you know, daily. And she just makes sure that we have fresh content, does interviews. We are really known for doing independent music on our radio station. So if you have any music that you would love to get played, it has to be clean, edited music. We take a listen to everything. If you say a whole lot of stuff we don't like, we won't play it. But if we feel like the music is good, we put it in regular rotation. And I'd like to, you know, just take this opportunity to tell people our radio station is a reporting station, which means we report to the Billboard and the Grammy Association. So independent artists, send us your music to WLJZ1071.com. That's it. Just send us your music. All the information's on there. And we'll take a look and we'll listen and we'll play the music. We tend to get a lot of gospel music. So our Sundays is always packed with a lot of independent artists that, you know, have really good music. And we really try to help push that. Beyond the radio station, we are, you know, one of the schools who has a Retool Your School initiative. And not long ago, we did, you know, the voting thing, and we actually won. And Home Depot helped us retool our school with one of the book areas. We went from actual physical book to digital books. So we had this space that was, you know, game room bookstore, and we were able to turn that into the Podcast Cafe. And I love that initiative. Like, the Podcast Cafe is something that, like, hands-on, you know, that's one of the places students can literally just come. Faculty, staff, community people, just come, schedule your time, and literally take advantage of the 3 podcast booths that we have. And it's all the newest technology. All you got to do is come in there, hit play, hit record. You know, you can take phone calls, and, you know, all of the newest technology in with podcasting already there. All you got to do is sit down and do it. But Home Depot was, you know, gracious enough to give us some money to help us redo that area. And that's one of, you know, the big things. But what I do for students is, if they have a podcast that, you know, they got some really good information, we'll take that audio clip and put it on the radio and turn it into a radio show. So there's tons of opportunities that we're, you know, really doing for the student, faculty, staff, and the community with that. And then coming soon, coming attractions, as Dr. Davis loves to say, We're working on a recording studio. We are building up our communications department so that we can build our actual communications degree. And once we get everything off the ground, we will have a new recording studio with some of our, lovely friends who have been gracious enough to put their names on this project. But that's going to be a huge goal. We'll be able to teach, studio arts. We'll be able to teach music business, all these things, and hopefully get some of these students who are, entrepreneurs or whatever, and teach them the right ways to, navigate through the music industry, along with some of our big industry friends. I don't want to name drop right now, but, when it comes to time, people are going to see we have some heavy hitters who are basically being a part of this and that are going to help us with that program. Hope I didn't miss anything out. I mean, we have a lot going on.
My guy, I feel like you've gotten more since I seen you, and that was just about 3 weeks ago. So, y'all are doing it so big over there at Livingstone College. That was one of the reasons why I had to have you on. So I'm gonna make it plain for our audience, and I need you to confirm what I'm saying, or say, nah, that ain't right. I want you to be straight up with us. You mean to tell me that if I'm an up and coming artist and I got some new content, whether it be in the form of a song that I would love to put on a radio station, or an idea for a podcast, or any type of idea for even like programming, like recording, even video wise in the future, you mean to tell me I can come to Livingstone College, set up a meeting with you, get a consultation going, and kind of work through all of this, and it could be low to no cost?
Yes, sir.
I threw that low to no cost on at the end, but you were searching for content, right? Which is huge, to get the eyeballs on the page, to have them click and stay on the radio station longer. And then there's this like ad-based model that you have going on behind the scenes that's kind of fueling all this when people are listening and tuning in more. Am I right with saying that?
Yes, you're right. You're absolutely right. We have so much time on the radio. It's 24/7, and we're looking for content to go on. And we really just take sponsorships. I mean, we play our radio station before football games. So if your music is in our rotation, our radio station's playing at the stadium, right before the football games. But we have sponsorships, and people sponsor ad space, and they're able to help, our radio station through that. Because, our radio station is education, but like I said, we operate as if we're a regular FM station. And I say FM because you can literally turn on your dial in Salisbury and tune it to 107.1 and hear it. We have a ton of people who sends us videos like, my song's playing on the radio, and they're playing it in their cars. So, that's one thing. We are here to really help the artist get their content out. I mean, like you said, low to no cost. We never charge to play your music on the radio station, but we do ask for donations to promote your music. So we'll put you on Instagram. We'll go live and talk. Hey, this is one of my favorite songs of the week. And we'll do all that. We'll do interviews, give you a chance to talk live with us on the air, and visit the station and all that. I mean, there's no cost to that. We just ask you donate, and we're not giving a specific price, just take advantage.
Take advantage is right. So listen, all the local churches that are listening, all the pastors, all the up and coming artists and thespians, and anybody that's creative in any stretch of the imagination, we need you to hear what my man Mr. Anderson is saying right now. Take down the information. We're going to make sure it's at the bottom of the screen. All right. And we want you to be able to give them a holler through email, kind of chat with them about your idea, and be able to just understand where you can get in, where you see an opportunity which is being presented to you right now in the media world. So, I mean, this is fantastic, bro. Like I said, I feel like you've done more. You spoke a little bit about your team, right? And now I want to start to take this conversation in just like a practical kind of way, which we say, like, how important would you say it is to have a team when you're doing something like this, not only at an organization the size of Livingstone, but just for your entrepreneurial efforts, for everything that you're doing at the church? How important is it to have a team? Just break that down a little bit for us.
Man, I will tell you, I depend on my team 110% because I can't do it by myself. A lot of times, these things are happening at the same time simultaneously. So it was important for me to really build my team with like-minded individuals who want to progress in the tech and multimedia world. You know, you don't want someone just to sit and babysit an area. You know, you want them to be able to troubleshoot. And I find my job is mostly troubleshooting. You know, if the screens aren't working, we got to figure out what is the problem with the screens, what, you know, and get that going. But my team, I mean, my team is wonderful. We have Ezekiel Perez. He literally is, you know, was a student who was work study, just helping us out and just kind of being one of those guys that, hey, do you need help carrying this? And that progressed to Ezekiel, grab this camera and do this. And then that progressed to, can you set this up for us? And then when it was time and Dr. Davis said, hey, Keith, you know, I heard you need to hire somebody. Do you have anybody in mind? He was the first person to come to mind. And, you know, he came all the way from California back to Salisbury to actually take the job. So you know, that's one of my guys I really appreciate. Miss Good News, my radio station manager, she volunteered for 2 years before we were able to actually just bring her on and say, hey, you need to be an employee. Like, you need to run this as a job. And I was able to, you know, get that along. Unfortunately, you know, we get people, you know, in that are wonderful at their jobs, but it's time for them to grow. We just lost one of our team members to another school, and he was our videographer, photographer, and he actually progressed and got a job kind of running the whole department where he's going. So, you know, that happens. It's great. You know, we got to celebrate when people move forward. But now I'm hiring. So anybody, videographers that have some photography skills, we're looking for you. Shoot me an email, please. You can find me Livingstone Directory, Multimedia. Please hit me up.
Love it, bro. Put the word out. This is the media indeed right now. Like, go after what you need, my guy. Yo, all right. So we have spoken about the importance of a team. You've expressed that, and just to like piggyback on that, when I was young in my ministry, I really didn't know how important a team was. I thought this was, you know, just a job, like, and it can be that for you, right? Like, there's a way of doing just this, but you know, right? You only go to a certain level. Like, you won't be able to scale what you're trying to do, to do quality work on a much grander scale, a much bigger level, if you don't involve those other people that have the passion, the like-mindedness, and the drive and determination to be able to want to go into this area full time, right? So when I first started, I was like, oh yeah, I got this. And then, you know, come to find out I couldn't make an event one day, or I couldn't do a service one day, or I couldn't be two places at once because I was being asked to do two things. So I had to work on now being able to guard myself against letting quality drop, which means I got to train people, right? So to everybody that's listening out there, it's not impossible, right? If you start with one and you get those that have the desire, right, to want to be better within this field, or any field for that nature, bring them on as an understudy. They should, if they really have a passion for it, they will do it for low to no cost for a good amount of time until they're able to get well versed at what they are doing. Hopefully you can retain that talent when you do get them to a certain level, because you will train them, you'll put them out there, and then they'll be trusted to work in that space and still work under the banner of either your church or your ministry or your brand or whatever it may be. And then everybody's blessed at that point. So I would say I think for me it had to be like an intentional thing. I had to like literally identify those that were doing it already and didn't know that they had the gift, and then if they were doing it already, just kind of see if they were interested in working underneath a brand. And it's harder to do that these days. I'm gonna keep it real. Everybody wants their own thing. Everybody wants to do gig work, get their quick money, get on the door. We being straight up real with you, but it can be done, and there's no harm in continuing to seek and to continue to ask and to continue to encourage. And then also, you know, two people now that do this thing full time. Now put them under our leadership for a good amount of time. We can help train them, and then we can bring them back and have them dispersed out to the churches, to the schools, to the organizations, and working all over the place. If a good videographer comes around, we know the tools to get them up to speed. Am I right? Am I just saying all this? So we can get them to where they need to go. So it's just a matter of putting them in the right area for them to be cultivated.
Hey, grace and peace unto you. I'm RJ Chandler, and I'm so delighted to share with you that I wrote a new book called The Power of Intentional Intimacy. 21 Days of Prayer and Fasting Will Make a Difference. It is my prayer that you will add this book to your collection of devotional items. And you can get your copy very easily. You can go to Amazon.com, or when I come to your area, you can pick up a book from me personally. It is my hope that this book will not only bless your life, but bless the lives of those who are within your circle of influence. You be encouraged, and thank you so very much for your consideration. God bless you.
All right, so let's take it in a different direction, Keith. We're going to talk about some of the challenges that you encounter when you're doing work at Livingstone College, some of the challenges that you encounter when you're dealing work at Cornerstone, and then also challenges that you have just being an entrepreneur, right? Let's be transparent about it. It's going to hit. We're going to come into some pitfalls, but just speak to the people to give them some encouragement to know that this is a part of the process, and let them know what you've gone through to get to the point that you're at right now.
I think, the big elephant in the room, let's just go ahead and get out the way. One of the problems that we face is funding. People don't really think about funding what they see every day. They might think, oh, that's on the screen or what have you, or this, just assume everything is just working. But it takes maintenance work and upgrade to keep up with the technology. Everybody has an iPhone. Everybody feels like, oh, I can just do it with my phone. There's no reason for this, nice camera. But then they wonder why it doesn't look like it looks on TV and stuff. So, that's just one of the challenges is, the funding. We got to, find a way to happily meet everyone because, it's just one of those things that people just don't want to think about. That's the last and further thing. And then I would say next would be, personnel. I mean, just finding the right people who really want to do the job and put in, 100%. I mean, you get people who, they'll just, okay, that's good enough. It's not good enough for me. I would like to give my all to a project so that, somebody sees that extra little bit. That could be a video could be done and everybody like it, but it's that 10% to say, hey, I want to put the name title to slide on there. And yes, technically you could be done with the video, but let's add that in there. Everybody looks at me and they're like, oh, here we go. Yeah, let me add a little bit more. But, one of the things we have with students here at Livingstone, we find students who come in and they have some gifts with photography or what have you, and we'll pull them under our wing and teach them everything we can, really give them as far as how to use the cameras and, and stuff like that. We'll take them on gigs with us and let them get real world experience and do all that thing. And then the next week they got their own business and they're out there doing it for themselves. They no longer have time to work study. It happens, but, we're proud of them because they have learned a skill that they feel, they're going to progress in. But for us, we just lost that guy. And now we kind of scramble and find somebody else. So that's one of the things that we're, really trying to get into as far as teaching them and retaining them, and we try to make it very, useful, helpful, everything, give them incentives, job opportunities and stuff. I mean, I will say most of my staff started off as students and I was able to hire them after. So that's, one of the things like we try to keep in their mind, if this is something that you really want to do for a living, let's start from the ground up, and build your resume and we can put all kinds of stuff. I mean, who wouldn't want to put that they worked for the president's office on their resume, while they were in college? So, talented students come through, we just try to retain them. But it's just one of those things. It happens. They get good and they go find other opportunities where they can do it for themselves. And I'm not mad at it. We definitely do employ some students. When it comes to photography, we have a student who's amazing at photography, and we definitely, any chance we can, we put some money in his pocket because that's his business. And hey, we'll do everybody like that. But come on, get some real world experience, like really learn how to do the important task and do it the corporate way, not just the street photography and stuff. Like, learn how to do corporate videos, commercials and stuff, and actually see a commercial on TV or what have you, not just Instagram and stuff like that. So I feel like those two are my biggest challenges. Other than that, it's just finding the time.
yeah, that part too, right? You always got to find the time. No, you laid it out perfectly. We're always talking about budget. We're always feeling like if we have more money, we'll be able to then be able to compensate quality professionals, right? So that works kind of hand in hand. Then you can retain the talent. And listen, there's a level of doing this for Christ. There's a level of doing this for your passion. But then you also got to line them pockets too. Like, people got bills to pay. And if they see another gig that conflicts with the gig that you're giving them and they're not getting the money, they're going to go run for that bread at the time. Now,
yes, they do.
And it's what you think. Do you think this is like a generational thing? Do you think we're just moving into a different space of how people are just working differently? They're taking more gigs now. They want the option to not have to come into the office anymore. I'm talking about this outside of media in general. They don't want to take too many orders from people. They just want the assignment. Go do what you ask me to do, and I'll shoot you the link later on. What you think about that? Because that's kind of what I'm sensing in my role as well.
I think it is. Honestly, I think literally after COVID, it changed everything. We went from being at home live streaming. Everybody figured out ways to make a living at home. Why would they want to come back into an office? Just give me the job and I'll go do it. But I was reading something not too long ago where they talked about the housing market, and less people are actually buying homes and more people are starting to rent because they don't want to be tied down to a certain place. They want to be able to go. And I think that's kind of the generation. They don't want to be tied to a particular place. They don't want to be stuck in here to do a 9 to 5. If they want to take a job here, then they want to go to Miami and take that job. Then they want you to fly them to California to take that job, and they're like, meanwhile, I'm working, So I think it is. I think you're right.
Yeah, I really do. And it's just different. It's not a bad thing per se. It's just as a manager, I think we have to operate differently and then build relationships. I think it's more about really connecting with your employees and understanding what drives them, and then being able to support them in that venture so that they can succeed. Because maybe it might be, going away for a minute and then coming back later on. Or maybe you can just rely on them to do this specific part of what you need done. I think it's just different, but it's something that we need to be not concerned with, but just be mindful of so that we can navigate it in the future.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's definitely all good. All right, let's see. Got a few more questions for you.
All right.
So, you talked about the Instagram boost that you had, like with the amount of followers that went to a ridiculous amount, just with basic practices that I believe took it to another level. It didn't seem like you did anything astronomical, but just describe what you would consider like a successful social media campaign for Livingstone College. Like, what would that look like from front to back? Now we get into the practical, right? Like from inception to conclusion, what would you say? How would it begin, and what would it all entail?
Well, when we did this campaign, I would guess you'd say, of really building our Instagram, we had a goal in mind, was to get subscribers or followers, to really retain these people, because you can get a whole lot and then they fall back off. But I did a lot of research, and I read up on, the best ways to really do it. And at the time it was Reels. Now it does change. There's always change with the algorithm, and you got to keep up with it. And that takes research. So, you might say we work a 9 to 5. At Livingstone, we don't work a 9 to 5 in multimedia. I mean, because we go home and edit, we go home and we actually start making the post in the morning. You got to look at your analytics and say, when's the best time for me to post? And it'll tell you. You just have to really look at it as a tool. Not just, I go post and do this and have fun. There's actually tools in there that tell you the best time to post, what days you have the highest engagement. You want to post then. So at the time I looked at it and it said that 8 a.m. was the best time for us to post. So I set out to make sure that I post every single day at 8 a.m. We posted 3 times a day for a month straight. And literally we started noticing a trend that when I posted something today and then I posted something tomorrow, then the post earlier was just now showing to the masses. So it's not necessarily I post this right now and then everybody's seeing it right now. And I was like, wow, okay. So that led to the consistency. Once we started with the consistency, it started leading to Instagram saying, hey, I already know they're going to post consistently. Let's go ahead and get this stuff out. And then everybody started seeing. I mean, it's funny because now I can just scroll through YouTube and I'll see one of our stuff pop up just, as a regular feed. And I'm like, that is mine, okay. And we just kind of go through like that because it's like something from far back when is just now popping up on our regular feed. And it's still interesting. So you got to look at it as not necessarily just a time thing. You want to just put it out there for institutions like Livingstone College or churches. You got to look at it as an overbroad thing of bringing people's interest into what you have going on. Not necessarily the main post. You might have a post to say, hey, we did this today, but you got to think in mind, you're putting Livingstone College did this today. Livingstone College is doing this. And then when people see it later on, they're looking at it as a past event saying, oh, look what Livingstone College did. So that was our main thing. Our goal in mind was stay consistent and really put out, the content according to what the algorithm was at the time. And I'd like to say it's changed now. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Say that one more. Say that last part again.
I said it's changed now. It's pretty much went from Reels being the big thing. Now it's back to stories and stuff like that. So, there's all kinds of people that make a living off telling people how to do their Instagram, and they're all saying different things. So you just really got to try it and see what works for you,
Yeah, I think, the big thing for me that you said was the consistency.
Yes.
If you ain't consistent, I'm telling you, it's never going to work. Like, and I think people get fearful when you mention that word consistency when you talk about media, because I heard a million times at a million conferences from a million people that are just fearful of social media. Oh, you mean to tell me I got to get on every morning 3 times a day and do the posts and stuff? And I'm like, nah, I didn't say that. I said be consistent. Like whatever it is you choose to do, that's what you
once
do.
a week.
Right.
You can do once a week.
Once a week. Just be consistent
once a week.
I mean, and depending on what you're doing, it could be even bi-weekly, as long as people know they can depend on this thing. Like even this program that we're doing right now, Media Minds, right? Like I was like, there's no way I'm gonna be able to do something every week. So I was like, all right, let's try it once a month. And sure enough, I was like, let's do that. We started off, I got bogged down with other things, but now we're bringing it back. And I'm committing again to doing this once a month and bringing on guests once a month. I can do that. And people will know, like, okay, I can depend on seeing this Media Minds once a month. So again, when we say consistency, it's your consistency. Whatever it is, be transparent about what that's going to do to your followers. Let them know when to expect it, and then hold to that. Like, don't drop off. And even if you do drop off, like, give an explanation. Write something out there. Put a post that says, I'll be back next week on vacation. Y'all wish me well. Tell I'll have a good time for y'all or whatever like that. Anything that lets people know that you didn't forget them, right? That is key to the whole thing. Is to identifying with your audience, sharing with your audience, and then communicating with your audience, right? Like I was talking about this, the Preaching Institute. I was like, we do too much of this. Post something, post a video, post a graphic. I know you do this, but most of us don't. We don't talk back. like people are commenting on social media. Oh, this is a great flyer. Like, can I come early? Asking questions, literal questions. At the bottom of the post, no response whatsoever. We just leave it. People trying to get in contact, people trying to give. Like, I'm not gonna be able to make it. I love to support. Okay, that's a wide open DM right there. We'd love to have your support. These are the ways in which you can support. We're not even looking back.
Absolutely right. Yep, absolutely right.
It's wild. It's wild. I mean, it's a new age. I just keep saying to people, social media is social. It's the same way you talking to somebody. Imagine one person just talking and the other one just listening. How does that feel?
It's about that engagement. It's about the engagement. I mean, if you're talking back and forth, engaging with people, they're more likely to keep going to your page or share with other people. Hey, did you see what they got going on? They're going to share it because they feel like they're friends now. They've had a part in, the whole communication of what you're putting out because you responded to them, or, thank you for your comment and so forth.
That's right. That share button is one of the most powerful buttons in social media. I'm telling you.
Yes, sir.
You share what you feel proud of. You share what you believe in. You share what you think is, has a level of integrity or stands for, the core values that you believe in. That's the stuff you share. You don't share stuff that, you don't share positively stuff that you don't like. You do share. So you're going to share it, but you're going to talk about it, right? You're like, yo, you see this? Don't ever go there. Yo, that chicken is nasty. Don't ever go there.
Every day I send them something that I'm looking at, whether it's a tip or something. I forward it right to the team, and they're like, "Here he goes again. Here he goes again." I mean, I do it a lot. Hey,
right. It's the good and the bad. It's like, yo, we will never do this. You see this? I don't want to do this. Or it could be like, yo, you see that? Yo, we need to do this. This is great.
Yeah. Can you do this?
Right. Yeah. Can you do this? Right. Can you put this together for us? Yo, so dope. Let's see here. I'm just looking at my question. I don't care about y'all. Y'all just bear with me. Let's see. All right, so we're going to end it on this. We've been talking a good amount of time here, and I'm going to give you final thoughts at the end, of course. But, what advice would you give? And this could be wrapped up in your final thoughts, honestly. It is kind of a final thought question. What advice would you give as a professional that's been working in media for over 20 years now, as a father that has to juggle all of these things together, now looking at where you are right now and saying and still having a plan for where you want to be in the future? Anything you want to deposit into those that are just getting started in this sort of work in this industry, dealing with AV, dealing with this new AI technology that's taking the world by storm right now? What would you say? What's some advice you would give us?
Well, first I'm going to give some personal advice that someone gave me. Our communications VP here at Livingstone College, Dr. Alexander, he is retiring, and that's one of my mentors that I really look up to. He gave me some advice a long time ago when I was, juggling my time. I was like, hey, my wife is a little upset. I'm working so much and I need to go home. And he gave me some advice, and he told me, include your family. If you have a program, invite them to the program with you. Have your wife on your side and your kids there with you. Whether it's graduation, it don't have to be their graduation, but they get to see dad at work and why he's working so hard and how he's responsible for other people and stuff like that. And so that was one of the pieces of advice that really helped me was, just including my family. My son visits our radio station, our studio often. My son is very interested in the same technology now. He's 14 years old and he makes beats and all that. And he's like, Dad, can one of my beats be on the commercial? It sure can, son. And now all his friends are listening to the radio station. So it's just one of those things, just include the family. That was one of the best pieces of advice I've gotten in a long time dealing with family. As far as the AI and things, embrace it. I mean, the only way you get left behind is if you don't find out what it is. If you don't know what it is, then you don't know what you're missing. And then when everybody else jumped aboard, now you late to the table. And they've got all the good jobs or what have you. My other piece of advice, honestly, is just do it. Just actually do it. You might fail, but you will learn from that mistake. You will learn what not to do next time. Just jump out there and do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I was watching some stuff, about starting podcasts and starting YouTube channels, and mainly the information is all the same. Just do it. It doesn't have to be perfect at the beginning. If you go back and look at Mr. Beast and all these other big YouTubers, Peter McKinnon and stuff like that, literally their pages look like something, you're like, wow, I can't believe he got famous just because they started it. And then they just kept progressing, staying consistent. And then it leads to them, ultimately meeting their goal. So that's my big advice, is actually just jump out there and do it. You might make mistakes. It won't look perfect. It might not look like how you want it. But what happens is people join you along your journey, and they might start offering help, or, hey, I got a guy who does graphics. I noticed your graphics on your page wasn't up to par, but I got somebody that wants to join you and help. So, that's way. And network. Literally just network. Like what we're doing right now was because we met, networked, and then realized we had a lot in common. So, hey, everybody thinks we're brothers now.
We actually got the hair and everything, right? Glasses and all. Yo, man, you are such a blessing, not only to Livingstone College, but to the kingdom in general, my guy. I'm so blessed to have met you. And listen, you talk about just do it. You are doing it. You are doing it, my dude. I mean, you ain't speak about how you basically built a radio station, not knowing much about radio, right? Before you ain't know much about it.
No, on the job training, I started just doing it.
Right. And just doing it. Right. And now look at all that's behind you, and look at the opportunity that you're able to talk to the entire Amy Zion denomination. And then offer this thing right now to churches and to other institutions, and to everybody that's listening right now. My brother Keith Anderson is doing it so big for the kingdom. Thank you for joining us, my brother.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You are very welcome. And this is going probably part one. I'm sure I'm going to bring you back on down the line. And we're going to see where you are in that stage. It's going to be a whole nother thing that we're talking about at that point, man. But keep
next time I might have a whole camera crew, and they can walk around the campus and do all that. We'll do like an Oprah moment.
Yes, yes. And I'm going to hold you to it. I'm going to be like, yo, where's that camera crew at?
Let's do it.
That's what it is. Listen, everybody, this has been Media Minds, where we had these practical conversations with the Ministry of Media in mind. It has been a blessing to have you all tune in on tonight and be a part of our audience, be a part of our family. Whether you're Amy Zion or not Amy Zion, we love you. We thank you for joining. We ask that you please follow the page for the Star of Zion. Follow the African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church page on Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and Twitter as well. And then tune in to Amy ZTV, become a subscriber of Amy ZTV, become a subscriber of our website where you can get all of our news for the Amy Zion Church. We endorse it. We love it. We appreciate you for just taking the time to join us tonight and to hear a little bit about what we got going on in the communications department of the Amy Zion Church. Again, my name is Darin Kent on tonight. Have a great night, everybody.